Hi, this is Meredith Smith, and this is my inquiry project presentation on communication in athletic programs for communicating mindfully. Looking at communication in Division I athletic programs, we can see that college athletes can go through many different programs and can have different experiences. But in Division I programs, they have downfalls throughout organization and outcomes of the way that they are run. Through looking at communication ethics within the business and professional aspects of Division I athletes, and how unity, beyond manners, and public accountability can play a role into what we see throughout those athletic programs. The dialectic and directional change plays a role in the athletic programs and how communication is used. This can also go for the communicational aspects of the interactions that athletes have and how they function throughout the athletic programs. Many obstacles and challenges that are presented within college Division I athletic programs. Some of the many things that come up when looking at this issue, an ethical communication problem that we see, is how the sport in Division I athletics is made to be a number one priority over academics and any personal or future goals. Another issue that we see is how when college athletes are injured or have problems, they are forced to continue to play even under different advisement from athletics staff and training, because communication is not essential throughout the athletic staff and coaching. Another issue that we see commonly is how coaching and staff are more focused on the sport than the athlete and their future after the 4 years of college. One example is how we see college athletes being forced into taking different majors than they normally would have because they are easier, and it would take less time to take those majors than it would the one that they wanted to. This interferes with the future of the athlete after their college sports are over. These examples, along with many others, are the reason why college athletic programs in the Division I level has become such a communication ethics problem. There is a variety of research about communication and how it functions in different settings. When looking at the business and professional side and how the dialectic directional communication plays a role in the organization and function. Looking at communication ethics problems that arise throughout athletic programs, the ideas and theories that Arnett, Fritz, and Bell have on communication into the business and professional sense align perfectly. These ideas on dialectic directional change is the key to how we look into the change and creativity that goes along with making decisions around the organization of the ethics behind responses in communication. Communication should be looked at as a directional engagement. There is an underlying expectation that through the organization of communication, there is room to pivot throughout change in communication. Depending on what is said and how people interpret what is being communicated, there is an outcome that will also change as a result, like the joint satisfactory response. These and a lot of others are the theories and explanations as to how we should organize and go about looking into communication in college athletic programs. When looking at how the organization of communication should function in the business and professional environment, there are a lot of aspects that need to be considered. With all aspects considered, communication throughout the athletic programs should improve looking at using theories and elements of communicating through the dialectic and directional change in business and professional communication. Instead of communication being one-sided and more linear, they should be creative and ever-changing throughout. Communication is an active engagement, and when made stagnant, communication will not progress and be more likely to do the opposite. Namely, looking at the directional and creative way of communicating, it is continuously changing, improving, and progressing to have the response and outcome that is wanted. When communication theories are not used, communication is liable to be lost in translation. Athletic programs are comprised of a lot of key roles, so getting used to a full understanding and seeing where communication lies will help to see everything that plays a role. Looking at the roles and how they play a certain part in the communication throughout athletics will help to see where there are shortfalls throughout communication. Utilizing the theories and organizations of dialectic and directional change will help to get people more involved in athletics to communicate and understand what is being communicated and why. Communication is all about being inclusive. Having the entirety of what is being communicated will help to have the expected outcome and response throughout a joint and full understanding of what is being communicated. The dialogic theory can create an interaction and a way of communicating that will not only make room for understanding and bring everything together, but it will contribute. Throughout dialogic ethics, there is an engagement that builds a foundation of learning and difference. Utilizing the impact and the foundation that dialogic ethics can have can make an impact on how communication comes across in the case of how coaching and athletic staff can utilize the foundations set in place so that the engagements help to achieve the response that is communicating through athletics and what they need. Utilizing the steps, processes, and goals researched will help to communicate the aid to athletic programs to improve them, like learning from listening, refraining from the demand that dialogue takes place, acknowledgement bias, recognizing that not all communication or should be in the form of dialogue, and keeping content and learning foremost. As we see in communication in athletics can be twisted. Division I athletics will continue to suffer as a result due to the lack of the needed communication. These programs thrive on how coaches are able to react to reach the athletes and give the athletes what they need to thrive. This cannot be possible if those ways of communication are being used to only benefit one aspect of the athletic program. Athletes know their value, and when that's not being communicated, used, or appreciated, the Division I programs will start to digress, and the idea and appreciation of Division I programs will start to decline as a result. The ethics problem has slowly become more of a known issue due to the athletics expressing their concern, not participating anymore, and more athletes being interested in Division II and III programs, where the athletes can be more focused on school, future, and sport, and all things that are more important, but that can be utilized together. There is a need for a foundation to be built so that Division I athletic programs have a baseline to function from. Without the knowledge or knowing what is happening, communication does not do what it should in these programs. Without communication and how a Division I athletic program should function with the ideals and goals, there will be progress for the future. For future research, we want to look into how to use communication styles to better implement strategies for athletic programs. There's a whole world of communication, and when used to the fullest, the response and outcome will so much more benefit the communication in athletic programs. Within the business and professional world of athletics, there are so many avenues that can be taken and researched further. Knowing the cause and effect of communication and how it is used to implement and be used in the Division I athletic programs would greatly help the efforts in knowing how to better improve the communication. Without communication, athletics would not be where it is, and those aspects cannot only be noted and exemplified to use in athletics, but in so many other applications. Thank you for listening to my inquiry project presentation on communication in Division I athletic programs.